Welcome to the compilation of my first month of my crafting quest. The goal of this quest was to keep me busy and sane while I'm looking for a job, because I was not doing well. I got a lot done, and I've touched a lot of projects I've been putting off. So I think it has been a very successful month, so stick around and see what I accomplished. At the end, I'll do one more little update. Today marks day one of my side quest to do something crafty every day while I look for a job. This video series is going to be my way to stay accountable and spread a little bit of crafting fun energy. Today I am finally getting around to working on some headbands made with knit material that I collected in my last days working at Joann and thrifted from a few recent fabric sales. I'm pretty happy with the progress I made today, clearing out a little of my pile of doom that sits in the corner of the craft room, and I really hope that this daily crafting quest helps me make a bit more space for even bigger and better things to come. And this is how they turn out. You can wear them like this or like this. I absolutely love these headbands, and I plan to get them up on my Etsy sometime soon in a whole lot of different patterns and colors. I think this was a successful day one of my quest to do something crafty every day. Welcome to day 2 of my quest to do something crafty every day. Today I'm continuing work on a little real life model that I got for Christmas and have slowly been working on since. And I was joined by a wonderful fluffy Fredden today. Gotta give her some rubs. I love these little kits, and I will say customer service from Real Life is really good. I was missing a whole bag of parts in this kit, and after I filled out their online form, I got my replacement parts in the mail in about 2 weeks. Oh, doing crafts with pets. Zoink. That's mine. This is my first of this type of model that I'm making from them. Previously, I had made some of their wooden flowers, but I'm having a lot of fun putting all these little parts and pieces together and slowly growing my little bakery. Now, my original intention with today was to only work on this for maybe half an hour, but when that hyperfixation hits, I guess you just gotta run with it and get it done. I just kept telling myself one more page, and then I got to the last page and was like, I guess I'm finishing this today. Cool. Maybe my goal should have been finish a craft every single day, which is completely unreasonable, so I'm still happy that my goal is to just do something crafty every day. But hey, I finished a project, and I'm pretty dang happy with that. So now, look at how cute it is. I love it. It's awesome. And the best part, which I didn't even realize, it lights up. This thing is so cute. Now, if only I had shelf space. Hello, and welcome to day 3 of doing a craft every single day to keep myself sane while I'm looking for a job. Now, my question for you is, does riding a tractor most of the day count as a craft? Because man, do I love trundling along on my emotional support tractor. Okay, it probably doesn't. The actual craft of the day, because I need to keep working on it, is my English paper-pieced hexagon quilt. Let's get on with it. I've been working on this quilt for about 6 years because I had the bright idea to make a queen-size quilt with 1-inch hexagons. There's about 3,000 of them. I have 300 done, because I'm really slow at hand sewing, and I'm really good at breaking thread. This is fine. I just get another one and keep on sewing. And there you have it. 1 new hexagon added. It's not a lot, but it's an accomplishment. And my goal with this crafting every day is not to do a ton It is just to do enough that I feel like I'm still doing something. So I'm happy with this. And now I might go play a video game, because that also brings me joy. See you tomorrow. It's July 4th, so you know what that means? Day 4 of me doing something crafty to keep myself sane. Didn't want to do anything crazy today, so I'm working on my Ren Fair costume. Sneak preview, I'm doing an original character Rito design, so I have a lot of parts and pieces to get done in the next month. I decided today wasn't the day to do something crazy, so instead I'm just printing out a pattern. Today is going to be the skirt for my costume using this fantastic fabric I found at a yard sale event kind of deal, and was honestly the inspiration for this whole costume, so what a great place to get started. And begins my least favorite part of any kind of print-at-home pattern. The taping. All of the taping. And now that we have that all cut, it's on to my next favorite part. All of the cutting. Now it's all cut out and ready to go. Am I gonna do more tonight? No, because I need to go pack for an adventure tomorrow. But I got a project started, and that's all that really matters. See you tomorrow. I'm going on an adventure, and it is day 5 of me crafting something every single day. So I had to grab something light and portable to take with me on my travels. The craft that ended up coming with me is my very first Woobles kit. Now I had really high hopes for this kit and was very excited to touch the yarn and spend my 2-hour flight doing some crochet, because I have seen people doing this in videos and thought it was a great idea. I am still very excited for this kit, but there's one slight flaw. So you see this package that says instructions inside. Well, found out it's just a QR code and I should really read the back of the package. So switch it is. I wasn't gonna pay for that airplane Wi-Fi. It wasn't much longer and we had landed, and at just a short car ride away, I could finally get started. All right, let's try this again now that I have internet. Because I have to look at the instructions on my phone, I can't record what I'm doing today. So let's see how much I get done. And bam, I actually finished the whole rice ball part. I'm kind of shocked. Woobles are pretty awesome. And it also helped. I was waiting a long time for people to be ready to go out on town tonight. But I have 2 more colors and 2 more days of my adventure, so let's see what I can get done tomorrow. Welcome to day 6 of me crafting something every day. Today I'm continuing work on my little sushi wooble. I already gave him his smile this morning, and now I'm going to get started on the other 2 colors. Let's see how far I get today. Made it to a point in the time ago where I'm doing the exact same thing, so I thought I'd pop on and give a bit of an opinion as a person that already knew how to crochet how I like the Woobles kits. First, I'm gonna say I highly recommend, especially because the easy peasy yarn is fantastic to work with, and they're really freaking cute. Now, the 2 small flaws I have with these kits, which are not deal breakers, just be warned. 1, there's no printed instructions. You have to have internet access to read the instructions, which I found out yesterday, but would have found out earlier if I had actually read the package. The second issue I have is that they're oversimplified. They only say increase or decrease, and they don't explain what type of increase or decrease in the written pattern. So you have to watch the videos, which I don't love. I would rather have it written out. That would translate better to commercial, mass-marketed crochet patterns, but this is a great way to learn, and it makes the patterns a little less intimidating. Ta-da! I actually finished the time ago, so all I have left to do tomorrow is the nori, and I'll be right on track to finish this project on my 3-day trip. My little adventure nears its end, and my little wooble is still naked. So for day 7 of doing something crafty every day, it's time to make my sushi its nori. When I gave myself this quest a week ago, I had honestly forgotten I was going on a trip, but I am really proud of myself for sticking with it. Yes, I'm editing early in the morning instead of in the evening because our flight got in way too late for me to do this voiceover, but I did the craft and it's done, and I am really excited to continue this quest and see where it takes me and what projects I can get done in the future. Getting started on a project is always the hardest thing for me. So what this quest is doing is it's giving me a reason to pick up a project that maybe I haven't touched in a while, or I hadn't started but had all the materials for. And now after a week, I have finished 2 projects. They were small, but I had been putting them off for a while. And I've gotten started on my summer's very large project and worked a little bit on some that have been taking me a very long time. Creating this quest for myself was exactly what I needed, but I know what you guys are all for. Here's the final result. He is complete, he is beautiful, I love him, and he's ready to head on home with me. Just look how cute he is. It is now day 8 of me crafting every day while I hunt for a job, and today I actually have a job interview. Naturally, I am ready way ahead of time, so I'm gonna do a little craft to calm my anxiety and waste a little time. Let's get into it. Today I found out that this is actually 3 different kits. I thought you had to pick one of the patterns, but they gave you 3 Ada cloths, so I get to make 3 different cute little Pushins. I think I'm gonna start with this one. This project is another example of my quest doing its job because I've had this kit for a very long time, and I finally pulled it out because I needed a spare project to take with me on my trip just in case I finished my Wooble, and it was sitting out, so I decided that's what I was going to work on. I haven't done cross stitch in probably 8 years, and I forgot how calming this is, and I think it was a fantastic choice to kind of calm my nerves. And with that, I have the donut complete, and it is time for me to drive to my interview. Wish me luck. I'll probably work on this a little bit more off and on, but I'm happy to have gotten started. Hello. Today is Crafting Quest Day 9, and I'm using it to be productive with my to-do list to get my headbands made and on Etsy, because it's been 2 months of me planning to do this, and I still haven't gotten around to actually doing it. Let's do it today. First step on the to-do list is inventorying the fabric that I've collected, because we have this whole pile, and then down on the ground we have this large pile here, and then that little tiny one. Ignore the other piles. Those are for other things. For every piece of fabric, I am measuring it to determine how many headbands I can make, because I can make 8 in a yard, and then I am cutting off a strip that can make 2 headbands. I am not making every single headband I can right now, I'm just making a sampling to take pictures of, and then I'll make these made to order. In the end, I determined I had 42 different fabrics. So 4.5 hours later, I finally finished task 1 on my to-do list. I have enough fabric to make 950 headbands. Fingers crossed that these sell well. So let's make a few more samples so I can move on to the computer. And just like that, I have 9 variations ready to go up on Etsy in the first run, just in time to go on a dance break. I didn't get as far today as I wanted to, but it was a very good start. Craft Day 10 sees me back at the farm for the morning, and then it's into the afternoon where I get back to what I was doing yesterday. So now it's time to photograph these lovelies. I have this cool laser cut wood thing I found on Amazon, and in the downfall of Joann's, I got a shot box. So we are gonna figure out how this thing works and take some good pictures. I only have one recording device, so I can't record this part, but there'll be pictures, hopefully, that look good. Ta-da! These turned out way better than I expected. And now I need to go edit them to make the thumbnail tile situation for Etsy. Currently still using Photoshop because my school account hasn't expired. I'm debating getting Affinity when that does. It's like A single payment that's the same price as 3 months of Adobe seems like a good deal. If anyone's used Affinity, let me know. If anyone has any other suggestions, also let me know. This is most of my photo editing skills, so I don't need anything fancy, but I do need something. I am very pleased with how these are turning out, much better than any photo I've used on Etsy before, and I hope to have the listing up on Saturday. Welcome to day 11 of my crafting quest. Today I am working on more patterns for my Ren Fair costume. I know, I still haven't finished my headband project from the last 2 days, but I have a wonderful opportunity today, crafting with some friends, to get somebody to wrap me in plastic wrap and tape. So I'm making more patterns and printing more patterns. I might cut out the skirt today too. We'll see how far I get. It is time to assume the position. If anyone hasn't heard of this method before, it is an incredible way to draft type fitting clothing and armor. In this case, I needed it for my leather chest piece because no pattern online fit exactly what I was going for. Basically, what you do is first wrap yourself in plastic wrap, hopefully with a friend's help, and then cover the whole thing in masking tape. The tape is what gives the pattern pieces their structure, so don't skimp on the tape. The plastic wrap just protects your clothing and skin. Then, as you can see here, you can draw on where you want the pieces and seams to be. This process is also a heck of a lot easier with a friend's help. My friend's half looks way better than mine. Last step is to carefully cut the shape off, make final adjustments to lines, and label everything, then cut the pieces apart. If something isn't laying very flat, it probably needs another seam or dart added in. I did actually lay out the pattern pieces onto my skirt fabric, but I need to make some adjustments, got overwhelmed and stopped. I'll come back to that. Hello and welcome to day 12 of my crafting quest. I got recruited today to go help my sister move some stuff, so I have a project to work on in the car as I get to be the passenger princess. Let's see how far I can get. I'm pretty happy that I started working on this quilt again recently. It fits super well into a bag and it isn't too difficult to do in a car. Thankfully, I'm not the kind of person that gets car sick, so crafting is a completely viable option. This also gave me the opportunity to record in an alternative setting and see how that worked. Thankfully for my mom, she gave me the suggestion of putting my tripod under the visor, and it actually worked really well. It only fell on me once. In general, it became a really nice day to do something crafty in the car, opposed to playing on my phone like I normally do. I feel a lot more present in the world, and it allows me to get things done. My quilt is without a doubt staying in this bag and coming with me whenever I get to be the passenger on a longer ride. Made it home and I got 6 whole hexagons added while driving around. There are, oh my goodness, you're so cute. There are 2 more left in this row, and if I wasn't needing to pop on my computer and work on Etsy, I'd totally get those added today. Maybe I will if I get done. But love having a car project. Love making progress on this thing. And back to my headband project. Welcome to day 13 of my crafting quest. Today I am questing with friends and we're working on our Ren Fair costumes. My goal is to get a mock-up of my chest piece done today and figure out if I need to go buy more leather. So let's see how far I get. This is the first leather project I am doing where I've created my own pattern, so I'm a little nervous to cut into the leather. So I'm starting with a felt mock-up because felt has somewhat similar properties to leather, and as long as I don't tug on it too badly, it should give me a pretty good idea if my pattern is going to work and if I like it. I use safety pins to put it all together so it'd be easy to adjust, and this includes an experiment that I did with the back since I hadn't actually mocked that up yet, and I think it turned out pretty well, and I think this is gonna work. Pretty happy with it, except for the back. I did go in and take the ring out because I didn't like it, and I think I'm going to put a panel in the back that still has the straps coming in at an angle, but it's just going to look a lot better for my Rito character, I think. And with that, I have a full mock-up. Pretty happy with the results, and I think this is going to look really cool when it's done with leather. So my last step is I need to take out all the pins and put it down on the leather piece I have to see if I have enough. The answer is a whole lot of nopes. Hello and welcome to day 14 of my crafting quest. 2 whole weeks done, and this is actually the first time I'm recording out in my craft tent. This is where I do all of my messy crafts and also where my 3D printers live. Today I was going to do something much simpler, but remembered it's my sister's birthday in 2 days, and I have a project that I started for her 2 years ago. So sis, happy birthday. If you wanted to be surprised, stop watching this right now. The gift I am making is a wave charcuterie board. First step in creating any good resin project is to level your work surface. And then the second step is grabbing your gloves and respirators because resin is bad for you. Everyone who skips this step, stop it. Now I pulled out the resin I bought for this project, and guess what? It's expired. Good news, my dice resin works in thin coats. Now it is time to prep the surface I started 2 years ago, tape the back to prevent drips, and then realize I don't need a drip tray because my whole table's covered in silicone. On to the fun part. This is me very much guessing what I am doing and hoping for the best. I will reveal how it looks tomorrow. I also have enough footage to make a long form video of this. If anybody wants to see, let me know and I will edit all of that. And then I had leftover resin because I always mix too much, and since it's dice resin, I filled my dice mold. I will also reveal how those look tomorrow, so come back and see. It's day 15 of the crafting quest, and it's time to see how my charcuterie board and dice turned out from last night. Let's go take a look. Success. Look at that. It's so pretty. Also very reflective, but it looks like an ocean wave. I was hoping for a little more cells, like my sample I did who knows how long ago, but I don't remember how I did this, so this is fine. I think my sister is going to like this. And now on to the dice. Nearly didn't put the dice into the pressure pot last night, but decided that if they were cool, I wanted them to be good, so I did. Voila. And let's get it demolded. I always love picking off all of this excess resin. It's kind of fun. But the final reveal. Without a doubt, the D4 turned out the best. It's the only one that ended up with a Petri effect, I think because the white was sitting on top of it longer than any of the other dice. But they all look pretty good. Hear that sweet clickety-clackety. I love when quick things look cool. And with that, I am running out of time for this video, and I don't think I'll do any more recording. I can't sand any of that down today because the resin needs to fully harden for about another day. And I think I'm gonna spend the rest of my day video editing, so it's not very exciting. So, Joe signing off. I'll see you all tomorrow. It's day 16 of the crafting quest, and that also means happy birthday to my sister. I got the charcuterie board all loaded up and ready to test out. Still needs to be sanded, but it did pretty good. Then after we had a nice dip into the lake, I did a little bit of work on my hexagon quilt. My sister decided this was the weirdest thing I've ever done in public, but I was pretty happy with it, and I was able to maintain my crafting quest streak even on a busy day like this. Of course, the water was the bigger reason we were there, and it was really hot outside, so I didn't actually do very much on my quilt today, but progress is progress, and I am slowly getting it done. I at least got the last 2 hexagons added onto this row. I just want to show that this is all of the quilt that I currently have done. That last row has taken me the last 5 years. The rest of it I did while I was in Peace Corps for a year without a sewing machine. Very hard to get back into hand sewing when I have a sewing machine again, but progress is being made, so I just gotta keep going. I also made it to Tandy Leather today and got all of the leather I need and more, so you know what to look out for in the next few days, more progress on the Ren Fair costume. Welcome to Kookabo Crafts and my sewing room. It is day 17 of my quest to do something crafty every day while I'm looking for a job. And today I had 2 interviews and I have an hour to kill between them, and I don't want to play around on my phone the whole time, so we are going to work on my Ren Fair costume. I got all the leather I needed yesterday, so we're gonna get my chest piece cut out. First thing first, I figured I'd show off the hardware that I got for the chest piece. I decided to go with this like brass color and a kind of lighter brown. Since most of the costume's black, I thought that this would be a good contrast for it. I also got a handy dandy new strap making tool yesterday, so let's see how well this can make a straight line. And the answer is really, really well. I forgot to press record, but we are on to the rest of the pieces that I have felt templates for from my mock-up. I am leaving a little extra on the edges so that I can add a buckle to them. And just like that, I have all of the pieces cut out. I am so excited for what this is going to look like. I can't wait. Bonus content, also had a minute sitting on a train, so I worked on the Pusheen. Look, it has a face now. Hello friends, and welcome to day 18 of my crafting quest. Today is more leather work on the chest piece for my Ren Fair costume. Let's see how far I get. First step in the process, now that I have all of the pieces cut from yesterday, is to bevel every single edge and skeeve down the ends of the straps. If you notice my hands are blue, I might have had a minor mishap with a bottle of dye this morning. It's fine, it'll eventually wash off. I started this process at one friend's house and then moved to a different friend's house. From here it was more of the same, just endless beveling and skeeving. This is the worst part of any leather project. My finger hurts so bad at the end of this from how I was holding the tool. The sun is just mocking me with the passage of time. But eventually I was done and it was time to start dyeing. Now, no one is allowed to use me as a guide for how to dye leather because I am incapable of not getting it streaky. I just embrace that as part of its character. I even forgot to wet down the leather today, but it's fine. I'm getting it done and it's gonna be great. I just gotta believe. Look at all the progress I made today. I'm gonna be able to start hand sewing tomorrow, and I'm doing one last thing tonight, adding some neat's foot oil to the leather before bed, but that's not very exciting. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Welcome to day 19 of my crafting quest. I'm back out in the craft tent, not to polish these wonderful dice, still need to do that, but I have a burnishing tool on the end of my Dremel and it's time to do the last bit of prep work on my leather. Burnishing was one of those things that I kind of hated when I first started leather work, but after finding these Dremel tools, it has become a breeze. I did a few of the smaller pieces, and then I moved on to the big pieces that I wanted to get stitched today, because I had to actually pause in this process and go design my mom something in Cricut. After this brief interlude, I ran upstairs to start punching some holes. This is another process. If you haven't figured it out yet, leather work is a lot of very monotonous, time-consuming processes, but man, do things look good at the end. I didn't have time to punch everything, but I had enough to punch some things to take to my D&D game. This was why I was working so hard to get everything prepped for sewing, because this is the perfect task to do while playing D&D for a while. And then I proceeded to stitch for about 5 hours today. My fingers are not happy, but you gotta do what you gotta do for the cool costume. Look, I got 3 whole rows stitched. It's coming along. I'm so excited. Have a surprise tomorrow that won't involve this costume, but check back in on Monday and I'm sure I'll be getting more of this done.
We interrupt your regularly scheduled crafting content to bring you last year's Ren Fair costume.
Hello friends, and welcome to day 20 of the crafting quest. I decided today that getting into this and turning myself green was crafty enough. If you've been following along, you know that I am not done with my new costume, and I'm going to the Washington Midsummer Ren Fair with some of my friends. So this was the perfect opportunity to show off last year's costume. I made almost all of this myself. There's a pouch, pants, and shirt that I did not make, but I have a dice-shaped bag full of dice to pass out as trinkets, and I'm ready to go. I'll see y'all tomorrow for more crafting adventures. Hello friends, and welcome to day 21 of my crafting quest. I know I said I'd work more on this on Monday, but alas, that's not going to happen today. My sister needs me to help her most of the afternoon with moving stuff, and my mom needs me to help her with Cricut things this morning. So my craft of the day is Cricut related. Let's see what I did. I very briefly showed me making this design a couple days ago, but now it's time to get it cut out. I have 45 of these to cut, and I'm so thankful that I have a backup Cricut I recently got because my maker decided to stop connecting to my computer. I love technology, but they're all cut out now. We're good. And then the other fun part, I get to weed them all. At least this part's pretty satisfying because I had a nice brand new blade and I could just rip everything I didn't need right off. And it's a simple act of picking off all the little bits. I did not get all of these weeded today. There's just way too many. But we did get a few put on shirts. I hope to be back into costume making tomorrow, but I'm not entirely sure if I will have time then either. Hopefully I can do a little bit. It has been a very long day, but I finally finished helping my sister move. Time to go do crafts. I'd like to start by saying I am starting day 22 of the crafting quest at 8 p.m. This is great. We're doing great. I finished getting the rest of these t-shirt transfers for my mom weeded. This is what the weeded material from 45 transfers looks like. A little satisfying, also a little sad for the environment. Then I had to cut 2 more names on my tiny Cricut. Had a brief interlude while taking the dog outside to collect some cherries, and then I was finally on to what you've all been waiting for. Getting back to my leatherwork for my costume. I started this burnishing process on Saturday, and it's taken me till today to finally be able to finish it. But every single piece has been burnished. That means everything is prepped tomorrow to get some holes and get the sewing done and maybe rivet on some straps. I don't know. We're gonna see how far I can get tomorrow, but tomorrow is going to be a costuming day until I have to go to my dance class, and then maybe I'll costume again after the dance class. I'm just happy to be back on the leather project. And with that late night crafting over, I will see you all tomorrow. Hello friends, and welcome to day 23 of the crafting quest. We are back to work on my Ren Fair costume, getting this chest piece done. All of the leather has been prepped, and now I just need to punch in the holes for all the stitching. Let's get into it. All right, everything except for this very bottom edge has its stitching holes. Let's go sit on the couch and sew for a while.
Yeah, he's so needy.
Now, if you've made it to this point in the video, I'm hoping you can give me your opinion if you like this style of content where you can see my face and I'm doing things in front of me, or if you prefer this style where I have the camera zoomed in on what I am doing and you just see my hands. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments. And with that, I am out of time for the day, but I got 2 seams done, added both strap buckles, and got the side pieces on one side added on. I think I'm gonna finish tomorrow. Good morning or good evening, depending on when you're watching this. It is day 24 of my crafting quest. I got my coffee and I'm ready to finish my chest piece. I definitely am gonna have this done today, and I don't know what I'm gonna do after that, but let's get this done first. This is a lot of the same of what I've done for this whole costume, but if you wanna see everything that went wrong, it's the linked video, cause a lot went wrong.
Well, hello, Missy. You got Oliver yesterday, and today you get Misty.
Fluffy friends are the best.
So, let me go hammer the holes in for this one.
We are on to the last seam. Let's get it done. My hands were aching by this point, but the end is near. I just have to add the back strap. Final step in the process is burning the knots so they don't come out. And then I am done. What do you think? I'm so excited. It's done. I have the first part of my costume made. It's not perfect. It's not even exactly what I intended, but I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm really excited to get on to the next parts. We're done for the day. I'm gonna go edit some videos, but I'll see y'all tomorrow for whatever comes next. Guys, I just realized I put these on the wrong piece. And this is why we have scissors. Or a seam ripper, but I don't want to get up to go find a seam ripper, so I'm cutting off these threads. Wheel. Momentary setback. I apparently made this a little loose. So I was able to pretty much completely get rid of that whole piece. I'm gonna cut down these straps, and I'm also going to cut down this piece. Okay. That was a wild adventure to get the upper part done. I just have to add the back strap, which I was messing with, and it looks like to fit comfortably, it's gonna come in at an angle. So I think I'm actually gonna trim down this corner, and then I'm also up here going to trim in right here because I don't like this corner either. Good morning and welcome to day 25 of the crafting quest. I'm gonna give my fingertips a little break because they hurt and do some baking today because I had a mass harvest of cherries and blueberries from the backyard yesterday and I wanna make something sweet with them. Might touch my costume this afternoon, but first, on to the baking.
6.5 hours later.
All right, so my friend showed up and I got mildly distracted. Definitely not getting to the costume today, but let's get to baking. I decided on a recipe from Saving Room for Dessert called the mini deep dish berry pie using these little springform pans. I won't go into details about the ingredients I used, but I will link the recipe. The only change I made is I used blueberries and cherries instead of raspberries. I am not trying to go for aesthetic baker. Like in most other things, I have a tendency to make a mess when I'm making stuff. But I love to bake. It's super fun. Tastes great. Don't do it very often because I don't need the sugar all the time. But I'm so excited for these. And then it was time to get them in the oven. We also made some jam today. Didn't record any of that. But look how good these turned out. A little bit of powdered sugar on top, and then we cracked them open with some vanilla ice cream. Oh, very much a happy dance. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted today. How did you like it, friend?
It was really good.
Yeah. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Friends, I finally found a reference for my wings. Look how cool these are. I've been scrolling through this person's Instagram most of the morning and I can't. They're so cool. I must recreate them. I wish I knew what I think is Russian so I could learn a little bit more about the process, but she shows little tidbits and I think I am going to be able to figure out enough to do my own thing in this general idea. I was really intimidated to start my wings and I've been putting it off. Needless to say, it is day 26 of my crafting quest and I am working on figuring out my wings. First step in the process is to the store. Ben Franklin is the only reason that I'm not overly upset that Joanne is now gone, though I can't get fur here, so I'm hoping the one I have at home works. I considered using actual feathers in the wings, but I don't know if I actually will at this point, because these are really expensive. In theory, everything I have here is what I need for the wings. I have my bodysuit with lots of colors of paint and the fabric medium. And then foam, wire, webbing, and denim for the main part of the wing. And then I have this gray fur that I'm really hoping I can turn brown. Let's find out. I've dyed many things in the past, but never fur. I honestly had not considered how much this was going to matte. And yeah, I don't know if this is usable. It doesn't really brush out, and the color doesn't match my hair like I want it to. So I think I'm gonna scrap this idea, go order some stuff, and do some more research. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Good morning, friends. We're going to get on to more design work on my wings, but first I need to use my drawing tablet on my computer, which means I get to clean up this disaster. Does anyone else end up with desks that look like this? I swear this was cleaned like a month ago, but it just gets cluttered again. I am chaos. Let's get it clean.
Where to start? Wait. I got something better. Let's use a little magic.
Much better.
If anyone's watched my room tour video from a couple years ago, you'll see my desk has significantly expanded its bits and bobs. These make me happy, and I'm glad they're organized again. But let's get to costume designing. I'm starting with a very block version of my arm to get the correct scale to then layer a wing on top of, because I want the wing to be as realistic as possible, because that's how I do any project. I am extra. But let's get the wing layered on top. And this turned out being way longer than I anticipated, so I needed to also make the artboard longer. If anyone's curious, I'm using Illustrator because it's what I know how to do. Sort of. I'm actually kind of bad at it, but we're learning. Didn't get as far as this as I wanted to today. I had an event to go to, but I made some Pusheen progress, and I'll see everybody tomorrow. It's alive!
All right, friends, I have 2 goals of day 28 of my crafting quest, and that is to first get the digital mock-up done for my wing design, and then it's to print it out and make a paper mock-up. I have a meeting this afternoon, so let's see how far I can get this morning.
I decided to go mostly rogue from what I was doing yesterday, and now I am tracing feathers because I want my wings to be as anatomically correct as possible. This was mostly because I just couldn't figure out how to shape a feather, but anatomically correct is going to be cool. I managed to get all of these primary feathers traced before I had to leave for my meeting. Let's see if I can get the rest done after. The answer is yes, yes I can. And now I just have to put them all into a sheet that I can print out. If anyone is curious how I printed this, I exported it as a PDF and then I used Adobe to print it using the poster setting that automatically tiles it. Then it's cutting. So much cutting. And also taping. But I had a good show to watch, so it was fine. We got it all cut out. Then I made a little arm mock-up and it was time to test assemble. This was surprisingly easy, which is also why I spent so much time making the digital model. I think this is going to turn out just fine. And then it was time to test fit. Unfortunately, the paper is a little floppy, so enjoy me laying on the table. I'm so ready to start foam and airbrushing tomorrow. And with that, I will bid y'all a good night.
Thank you, everyone, for getting me to 100 subscribers. I know it might not seem like a big milestone, but I really appreciate every single one of you for helping me get to this tiny milestone in 29 days. But thank you. I really appreciate every single one of you for tuning in and enjoying my crafting adventures, which is, I know, what you guys are all here for. So let's see what I got done today.
I'm continuing work on the wings for my new Ren Fair costume. I started the day by dismantling my paper mock-up I made yesterday because I need all of the feathers to use as templates for cutting foam. And it was at this moment I really, really wish that my Cricut Maker had not decided to stop working recently, because man, would it have been nice to cut all of this foam on the Cricut. But instead, I am doing every single one of the 152 feathers by hand.
One eternity later.
And I'm still cutting. I did not anticipate just cutting all of the feathers to take me all day, but here I am, still cutting feathers. It's now dark outside, but I managed to get them all cut, and that's what really matters. Little sad I didn't get to touch the airbrush today, but I definitely will tomorrow, and I hope to see you all there. Thank you again for tuning in. Welcome to day 30 of the crafting quest. We're finally airbrushing. Mostly just to test it because I don't actually know how to use this, but we're gonna find out together, and then I'm gonna do some more prep work on feathers. In theory, I water down the paint and then I put it into this little chamber, and then it just works by me pressing the trigger. Let's find out if it's that easy. It works. All right, that's actually a lot easier than I anticipated. We have
My reference. I am airbrushing matching feathers from both sides at the same time so I can get them mirror imaged. And then I figured out that I did not need to actually water down the acrylic, that this airbrush is good enough to just use this acrylic straight. So I rubbed that off and then proceeded to accidentally dump paint all over myself because I didn't realize you don't unscrew the lid. That unscrews the whole well. But I think I finally figured it out and I'm liking what these are looking like. Now I'm gonna pause here in the airbrushing because I need to go do some prep work on the larger feathers. First to iron them so they look less like a curlicue and more like this one. Then I ran a quick experiment to decide on how I wanted to do the vein that runs down the feather. I decided on the foam covered version, so I spent the rest of my afternoon putting these on the larger feathers. This is going to be very time consuming, but I hope you all tune in tomorrow to see more progress. Welcome back to my crafting quest. It is day 31 and we are continuing work on the feathers for my Ren Fair costume. Already been running an experiment this morning to try to make this seam less visible because the foam clay didn't do as good of a job as I had hoped, and paint does not make it better. Spray paint also does not make it better. So I have figured out a whole new way to make the vein, and I think this is going to be way less noticeable. So this is a very tedious process, especially now that I have to use contact cement instead of just the adhesive foam, and this gives me a mild headache, so I took lots of breaks inside the house. Here's some bonus lizard content. He's a good dragon. And then we go back to the feathers. I slowly started changing my method, but I like what they're turning out. And then I ran out of wire, made a quick run to the store. Yoink. And then I continued the feathers for what felt like forever. All right, the sun is setting and I finally finished the feathers. I need to prime them now, especially these ones that I used as test subjects this morning. I have 2 different primers and I ran a test for them on actual scrap this time. I can't tell the difference, so we're just gonna grab one and go. And with that, I'll leave you for the day. I'm looking forward to something a lot more fun tomorrow. Man, I got so much done this month. It's crazy. I felt so supported by everybody and I'm having so much fun producing these videos. So I do plan to continue them even though I got a job. I'm so excited. So the crafting quest was a major success and it might be changing up a little bit next month, but I hope to see you all there.